Welcome to Thursday Thunderdome, where once a week we take one topic and put it in the Thunderdome, talk about it, discuss it. Sometimes our power goes out and we record the same episode twice, which is this week. With me, as always, is my co-host, Chris.
Hello. Hopefully no technical difficulties tonight.
Yeah, like when we spend 40 minutes recording an episode and the power goes out and we lose everything. So here we are again for Thursday Thunderdome, part 2 of this week. And this week we're talking about fandom.
Fandom.
Yes, being fans of things, fandom in general, and with fandom, especially after this big week of the Super Bowl. Chris, I need to check my notes here. You are from Texas, was that right?
Let me think.
I can't remember.
Yes.
You're fucking
yes,
wearing a
yes.
North Texas shirt right now.
I
God
am.
damn it.
Yep.
I thought it was a joke. Oh, man. Have we beat this joke to death yet? Nah, I don't think so. No, we're going to keep doing it.
Not. Well, I mean, it's just true. I mean, I can't help it.
It's part of who you are.
You can. I actually said this earlier today. You can take the boy out of Texas, but you can't take the Texas out of the boy.
My favorite Texas thing with you forever, this is like, I think when you first started like hanging out with like our friend group and like we started becoming more friends, is we were like joking about you being from Texas, and you're like, I'm not like that much of a stereotype. You were literally wearing a Cowboys shirt and like a Cowboys hat, and I was like, Chris, like look what the fuck you're wearing, man.
When did I wear a Cowboys hat?
It was like a beanie or something, like not, I don't think like a cap or anything.
Oh, okay.
I mean, like,
Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Okay, not an actual
not
giddy
like,
up cowboy.
No, I'm sorry, not a cowboy hat, not like a 10-gallon hat, but like a baseball cap or like that had the star.
No,
on it.
It had the big D on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everybody from Texas has got a big D.
Oh my God, Texans are the worst. I'm sure you have a bunch of friends who listen. Okay, so spoilers, you're from Texas. You love the Cowboys.
Yes. Yeah. No, I absolutely love the Cowboys, but I haven't always loved the Cowboys. I know, right? Shocker.
I thought all Texans were born with the birth certificate, you get handed a gun, and you get handed a football jersey of the Cowboys, and you walk out in boots.
Yeah, it depends on the decade you're born in. You might get handed a Aikman jersey, a Staubach jersey, Romo jersey. Hopefully we're not passing out any Prescott jerseys just yet, because he hasn't done anything.
Yeah.
But, no, I mean, in the 90s, obviously, everybody in Texas is a Cowboys fan.
I was a Cowboys fan in the 90s. Like, as a kid, like, when I thought I liked sports.
The whole damn country was a Cowboys fan. I mean, and that harkens back to the 70s where they were America's team, right? Because, they built the stadium and they put a hole in the dome that God could watch his favorite team play.
That joke.
Okay. So, I know 2 weeks in a row we've made the same joke.
We're talking about sports kind of for 2 weeks in a row. That's our own fault.
But I wasn't a Cowboys fan post 90 Super Bowl for a little while. So they won the 3, and then like it was just kind of out of mind, out of sight, because they just really went downhill fast. They sucked, and I wasn't into any other sports. I was into high school football because I was in the marching band and I went to all the games, so it was natural to like get into it and cheer them on and everything.
Because you have some kind of like connection to both your hometown. Because I believe you are from the Dallas area, right?
I am from Dallas.
That sounds like I'm making a joke, but I
am from Dallas, so I've got that affiliation that I am from the area, I'm from the state, so I should be a Cowboys fan. You know, even though now I live in Indianapolis, which is a different story altogether as far as who I root for here, but I get to college and I actually was a little bit of a Patriots fan. It was right after they won their first Super Bowl.
The Colonials up there in the Northeast.
The Colonials of Boston.
That's right.
So...
Not the Republic Free of Texas or whatever the fuck they're called.
It was simply because of Tom Brady. I liked Tom Brady. And I think a lot of people like certain teams because of certain players. And I kind of got out of that. And part of what happened with me and what led me to the belief that I have now, and it's a pretty strong belief, as you guys are about to find out, is I went to a university where nobody supported the college.
Go Green.
Go Mean Green.
Wow. That from the movie, was it? There's a soccer movie about that. There's a fucking goat in it.
I don't know. It's got handball in it, right?
It's from the 90s.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it is.
So
another sports movie I like.
Right. Oh, there you go. Sports ball. So I went to a university where nobody supported them. I'm wearing their shirt today because I still support my university and I wear it to work. And people know where
you
I'm
have like
from.
a wind chime on your front porch.
Yeah, I've got a wind chime out front. My little son, he's got onesies that are North Texas onesies and everything.
I haven't seen
so
these yet.
I mean, it is a part of me. It's who I am, and I really hated it when I went to school and people were walking across the campus wearing a University of Texas shirt, a Texas Tech shirt, an OU shirt, fucking University of Oklahoma.
Go Sooners!
Sooners,
That
look
is
at
Sooners,
you,
okay.
yeah. And I couldn't stand it. It just drove me insane. It made me mad to see people wearing
I just
stuff.
feel like you were like
and
the
their name-
angriest kid in college, but like not about real life things. Just
No, I'm
sports.
angry at things that don't matter,
He's
right?
yelling
And
at me.
that's the problem I have in life in
I'm
general.
looking at the levels on our fucking recording.
And so it kind of spurred in me this thought, and it's pretty old school thought, and I don't try to be old school or a curmudgeon or anything, but when it comes
You
to
are a curmudgeon,
sports,
though. I know you try not to be. You're a curmudgeon. I'm a curmudgeon too. It's fine.
when it comes to sports, I can't help myself, and I still root for my Dallas teams, the Cowboys, the Stars, the Mavericks, and the Rangers, because that's where I'm from. That's where I grew up. I spent 34 years there. So I moved to Indianapolis, and I maintain that loyalty to those home teams. But when I move here and I meet people who, they're not from Texas. They've never been to Texas. They have no affiliation. They have no family from Texas. And they're Cowboys fans. And they have Cowboys flags flying out in front yard. And I'm like, the fuck? You have a team. You have the Colts. You should be a fan of the Colts.
But why do you have to be a fan of you're like that's like forcing fandom on somebody? Like, why do you have to be a fan of I'm from Indiana? Like, I guess I have to like the Colts. Like, maybe I like Dan Marino from the Dolphins because I can't name a current football player.
You don't like football.
I don't like football. You're right.
So the point is moot for you because you don't like the sport.
But that's my argument. That's not my argument. My argument is why are you so offended that they are supporting your team? Like, they're supporting your team, the team that you love. And then they're just and you're like, no, you can't support them. You put your fucking Colts or your Cowboy shit down, throw on the blue, and go get Colty the Colt to give you a piggyback ride down the field.
Posers. They're just posers, man. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, we're all posers in some way, right? But
for sure.
I don't know. I like this idea of my town versus your town. And it comes from high school football in Texas is a big deal. And it is my high school versus your high school, and we're going to kick your ass. Tease up, motherfuckers.
Tease up? God, I think that's funny. But what about, okay, so maybe it's not the location-based thing, but what about, being connected to, a player? I like LeBron James. I don't watch sports or anything. I don't like him for sports. I think he's an awesome guy. He does a lot for the community.
For sure.
And
no
the
doubt.
movie Trainwreck, he was my favorite part of that movie.
Oh, he was great.
Because he killed it on this.
Yes.
I like LeBron James. So it's I don't watch sports or anything, but if I did, I'd be like, oh, cool. Cleveland, Heat, Lakers. Is that all three? That it? Cool.
You got it.
I know sports.
Cleveland twice.
Oh, that's right, because he went back to the Heat, came back, and they all loved him. He went for the fucking Lakers.
And then he's like, deuces.
He sold out to the other two biggest teams because he makes teams big.
So, I mean, and I get that. LeBron James as a human being, I think he's great. I think he does a lot of great things for the community. Right. I think he does a lot of great things for basketball and just putting the brand out there and keeping that image that he's got of this just stand-up guy. And I don't expect to ever hear anything bad about him. I think he is truly a stand-up guy. But to like a team because of a player is even more asinine to me than just about
liking the
anything
Patriots
else.
for Tom Brady, right?
Right. But I don't do that anymore. And I hate myself for that. I actually said that the other night when we tried to record this the first time. That I really look back at that and I go, what the hell was wrong with me? Why would I ever like the Patriots just because of Tom Brady?
But can't you?
But I respect the player and I respect their ability. I've had people ask. So my favorite basketball player of all time is Dirk Nowitzki. Okay, the big German. He's still playing for the Dallas Mavericks. His 21st season, longest that anybody's ever played for a team.
21 seasons.
21 seasons,
God.
longest anybody's ever played in the NBA. 41, I think.
Damn, good for that.
40
dude.
or something like that. So he's up there in age. He's not what he was. He's a shell of his former self.
He's over 40.
Right. So but if he went to another team, I'm not all of a sudden going to be a Milwaukee Bucks fan. If he joins the Bucks because they have the best team and he's going to go and win a championship there, I'm going to be like, good for him. Dallas Mavericks. That's all I care about.
But would you support that team if they're playing not the Mavericks?
I wouldn't watch them.
Really? So it's literally about the location.
For me, it's about the team that is from my town.
So what about in Indiana we don't have Major League Baseball, the one weird sports thing that I know. I shouldn't know that. But so who's it okay to root for? Do you do Cubs? Do you do White Sox? Do you do an Ohio team that I can't name? I think the Red Sox.
No. No, the Reds.
Cincinnati Reds.
The Reds.
Wait, so the Boston Red Sox.
It is the Boston Red Sox.
That's stupid. Whatever.
And you also got the Cleveland Indians.
I don't care. I named half of one. I'm gonna call that good.
No, so I mean within a few hours of Indianapolis, what you have the St. Louis Cardinals, Chicago White Sox, Chicago Cubs, Cincinnati Reds, the Cleveland Indians, and I feel like there's another team in Ohio, but I'm probably wrong about that, so I'm just going to stop there. But my thought is proximity at that point. It can be a regional thing. Just because I'm from the Dallas area doesn't mean only people from the Dallas area can be a Cowboys fan. I mean, for a while, we were the only football team in the whole state.
Okay, but what about if you're in Oklahoma, which is Texas's hat?
Right.
And you don't like the Thunder, you want to root for the Mavericks. Is that okay? You're in the region.
And then this is where it gets kind of dicey because you're right. They have the Thunder, but they didn't always have the Thunder. So a lot of people were going to be
good
Mavs
right now,
fans.
I think. They've been good for the past year or two.
So they've been good for a while.
I know. Them and the Warriors, right?
Yeah.
But the Golden Warriors have been killing it.
For 5 years.
Yeah.
It's a while, I guess.
Yeah. That's a while in sports.
Okay, I'm actually impressed by your knowledge of sports.
I actually know that from a comic book podcast because they're two guys are fans of Golden Warriors. That's the only reason I know that.
No, and it's tough to justify my feelings, but I can't fight my feelings. I can't hide my feelings, Tyler.
It's part of you.
It's part of me. It courses through my veins. This feeling I have, and I mean, it is what it is, right? That's the way I am about my sports.
That's you are such a motherfucking gatekeeper when it comes to this shit. If I want to watch the Sacramento Kings because I like them for some I don't know, they're the Kings, they're the king of sports. Who cares? I want to watch them and support them.
Shitty basketball team. That's what they are.
I don't. That's not the point, Chris. I don't care about their sports. It's just the idea of gatekeeping is so crazy, and maybe it's more maybe it's better in sports where there are location based and it's all competition. I can see that a little more, but from comic books, there's this huge gatekeeping bullshit where it's just it'd be using your own argument against you. You'd be okay, well you're not allowed to be a Batman fan. Yeah, you've seen the movies, you read a couple comic books, but did you read Batman #1? Did you read Detective Comics 27? Did you read all these seminal runs? So you're not a true Batman fan. You're a poser. Well, which is bull. I'm doing that to make a point because it's bullshit, and I hate that argument.
It is bullshit, and it's am I truly still a Cowboys fan because I can't watch all the Cowboys games?
Yes, you can't.
I am.
You're not. No, you're not anymore. You have to watch every one. You have to record it. You have to make
rewatch it.
You have a Cowboy diary and keep all the stats. But it's I just hate that gatekeeping thing, and again, I see it. It's very prevalent in comic books.
Which floors me. That blows me away.
Because it's every fucking basement dweller stereotype from the 70s you can think of. It's those motherfuckers that haven't grown up yet.
Oh, don't worry. Sal in South Philly is still living in his mom's basement.
Yeah, I know, and they're all fucking losers. But just that idea is just so insane to me, where it's I have friends who haven't read a comic book before, but they love the Marvel movies, and they're I'm into Marvel. I'm good for you, great, that's amazing. I like that. I'm a fan of comic books and of certain characters. I haven't read everything. I haven't read Batman #1, or I think I did finally read Detective Comics 27. It was last year. But but like that doesn't make you not a fan or a fan of something else. And especially in the comic book community, there's actually something called Comics Gate, which it's basically a hate group. It's this I guess artist that was Ethan Van Sciver. He was actually a big deal at DC. He did the Green Lantern books, and he launched a lot of stuff with Jeff Johns, who's a very good writer. And he just kind of like went off the deep end of like this crazy like super like alt-right bullshit and like he doesn't want diversity in comics. Like he doesn't want women in comics writing or characters.
White males only.
Pretty much. But it's all under the guise of like comics are ruined by right now. Like SJWs, like social justice warriors, like are ruining comics and putting politics in our comics when comic books have been political since Action Comics #1. Like in Action Comics #1, Superman fights like a wife abuser. Like that's
right,
like
right.
And then like you have Captain America,
who's fighting Nazis. You know,
literally on Captain America #1, he's punching Hitler in the face.
Right.
And they do that scene in Captain America: The First Avenger where he's punching, like he's doing it on scene, but like that's the cover of the comic.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get it now. I get it from where I came from politically. There is this feeling of artists should just create and shut up. You know, like they shouldn't be political.
You make your fucking art and you do it.
You paint me a Picasso and just keep the politics out of it. And that's just not the way it works.
But what art is like? That is not how art works.
That's not how art works. That's not how writing works. That's not how anything that is creative works. Is when you create something, you put you into that thing. And I was so ignorant and naive to think years ago that people should just shut up and act in their movies and don't give me some political agenda.
Like don't be people, you know? and especially in again back to comics was like the first issue of X-Men like in 61 or 62 with Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Like X-Men is about racism originally, and now like includes everything of like it's just any oppressed minority. They happen to be a lot of white people, but that's whatever. I can't control the characters.
Well, right. But
and they expanded, obviously. But it's about being oppressed as like a community and like fighting against that. And you had Spider-Man like where they dropped the Comic Code's authority for a couple of issues to show the effects of drugs. And like it just keeps going. Like I think last year there was a Captain America run by Mark Waid and Chris Samnee where Captain America goes in the future. He gets like frozen in ice again. He wakes up. He's like, what year is it? It's like 2 years in the future. And Trump has taken over America, and it's just like a shithole. It's like an apocalypse, and he's just trying to deal with all that.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's a really good series. It's like my favorite artist too. But comics have always been political, and like the people that say that, like if they've read Dark Knight Returns, it's about like the Reagan administration, and The Watchmen 2 is also about the Reagan administration, about how like all fucked that is.
Alan Moore was huge time. I mean, just critical of the whole administration, and Nixon was still president.
Yeah, because he's like president for life or whatever, and he's like on
he became a
his
dictator.
term.
He turned himself into a dictator.
In Watchmen, but comics like politics don't belong in comics. And during all this time when this happened, it just so happened to be that Thor he lost his like hammer. He was no longer worthy to be Thor, and Jane Foster became Thor. Like she took the name Thor, and like when she transformed, she was a badass, and it was a fucking good series. Captain America, he got...
You do Natalie Portman as Thor?
Yeah, I'd be in on it. And it's like one of my favorite designs too. It's very cool. And Captain America, due to comic book shenanigans, like became his actual age. He was like 90 or whatever. And the Falcon took over. So we have a black Captain America. We had Peter Parker die in the Ultimate Universe with Miles Morales being a half black, half Latino man becoming Spider-Man. And Tony Stark had... He died or in a coma, and like this other comic book shenanigans, and Riri Williams
drank himself into a coma.
Like some whatever happened, and like Riri Williams became this like 15-year-old black woman to become like basically Iron Man, who now goes by Ironheart, and like people are like so like outraged by that, and it's just like why like they're not reading the comics. Like I know they're not reading the comics.
No.
Like they're just mad for. Why do the characters have to change? Like,
they're mad because they're conservatives, and conservatives don't want things to change.
Yeah, and it's like it's not like they don't
insanity.
have 70 years of comics to go read featuring all those characters.
Right.
Because none of them have read every issue. Like, there's still plenty of stories, and it's not like it negates any story in the past. It doesn't retroactively make things bad. But like they're fighting that, and like they're fighting like the LGBTQ community, and like they don't want to see that in their comic books or whatever. And when like it's like a character that's gay, like that, or like whatever, or like a trans character. There's a really good Supergirl issue about non-binary characters, and I didn't know what non-binary meant at the time. And this came out like last year, and I was like reading this. I was like, oh, this is like a comic book like opened my view, which is like a crazy thing of like. And I read a lot of comics. You know, it's a lot of them just punching and shit. But like it like opened a lot of my views of like I didn't know what non-binary was, and it was for those that don't know, it's like they're not identifying either as male or female. They're just like not choosing to be either
genderless.
One of those. Yeah, and I'm sure we're not saying it correctly.
Butchering it totally.
Yeah, please someone correct us. But I thought that issue was very good and it was great. And then just the idea of all that and just like people getting upset about this like dumb bullshit about comic books, and it's like, and like if you don't like it, that's fine, I guess. But like, don't buy it. And that, because they'll go on and review. Like there's the guy that's part of the Comic Gates run is. He runs like an account called Diversity in Comics. His name's Richard Meyer, and I don't know what the fuck he did. I think he's trying to release a comic. He's a horrible human being, but he will buy these comic books by so-called SJWs, which like everybody in comics identifies as because they're all like more liberal leading and like doing creative stuff. But he'll buy comic books and on a YouTube channel like rip up the comic book and like quote unquote review it. But he's buying the it's like when people boycotted Nike for Kaepernick.
And then they went and bought Nike.
Yeah, and kept buying Nike stuff. Nike's like, keep buying our shit. You're just raising our prices.
All I think of is money.
Yeah. And
you know, I mean, we're just giving you money.
People don't understand how boycotting works.
Boycotting means you don't buy it. You don't purchase it. If you own it already, then you burn it. You don't go out and buy more of it.
Yeah.
Nike's just like, thank you. Marvel's like, thank you.
Yeah, they're like, please buy more of our comic
buy
books.
it. I don't care what you do with it after you paid for it.
And he's making money off of this because of like his YouTube stuff. Like,
sure.
So it's all just kind of like a ploy. Like he doesn't really give a shit either way.
His YouTube ads are, paying for his comic destruction.
Yeah, but the one thing I can't say that's good about Comicsgate is the same thing I can say about Trump. Like Trump in office led me to voting. Like, thanks, I guess. Comicsgate has led me to try series I would not have tried before, and now I'm reading them continuously. Like there's like West Coast Avengers, which is really good. Riri Williams, the character I just talked about, she has her own series, and I wasn't picking it up at the time, and I was like, okay, like let me try this out. People are trashing this one, and that's a really fucking good series. And I'm reading like the Miles Morales Spider-Man series, so like cool. But you guys being like racist assholes, you've like opened up my very white reading of like I read a lot of like white characters, and it's like I should probably like fix that. And as I'm
you to expand your horizons.
Yeah, exactly. And like West Coast Avengers has like gay characters and like trans characters, and it's like all this other stuff. I was like, oh, I should have been reading this when it first came out. Like I clearly missed the boat, and I like need to reevaluate like what I'm missing by like choosing different writers and artists of like different ethnicities and colors and like sexual orientation, because I'm clearly missing something.
Oh, sure. I mean, and so often we want to self-identify.
Right.
We want a superhero that looks like us, that sounds like us, that would do the things we would do.
Right.
And then we should be willing to expand our minds and look to other people who are doing different things, because that's going to make us better as a person, as a human race. Like, why would we just stay stuck in the same way of thinking? I mean, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And that's what this sounds like, is people are just wanting to do the same things over and over and over again, expecting society to continue to progress, but yet it's not. So why would we not take on, what did you,
SJWs,
yeah.
Social Justice Warriors. Is
there
like,
you go, yeah.
So it's like the term that they use.
Take them on. Read those comics. Like, let's have the kids get in there and read some things that are going to open their eyes.
Right, and like it's really easy for us to say, being two straight white men, where it's just like every Marvel movie except Black Panther is like all white people. So it's like, hey, like Captain America and Thor, like this is cool, like white guys. And then of course Black Panther makes like 800 million domestic, which is insane, and like
insanity,
$1.5 billion plus worldwide.
And
that movie fucking rules.
It's one of the best Marvel movies, if not the best Marvel
movie.
Simply because
absolutely,
I think the people behind that movie, they had something that they cared about. truly cared about. I like to think, oh yeah, sure, guys, everybody cares about Captain America. He's got a message, yay.
Yeah.
But like Black Panther's like, no, there is injustice in the world today towards people of color, and that needs to be addressed.
And the idea of like Wakanda being this like strong, like the most advanced nation in the world, like not helping the black community, which makes Killmonger such an interesting character of like, you guys are doing nothing to help people that look like us. And like none of the Marvel movies have anything like that. Like they're like actually like saying something this one. That's why it did so well.
Extremely strong message.
Fucking good.
Potent message that needed to be, brought forth. And I'm on the same vein, I'm super excited for Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Because you're talking the first female lead in
a Marvel
10 years
movie
of Marvel movies. Like,
how did they wait this long?
Well, they were really hoping to do Scarlett Johansson.
But how did they let DC beat them to the punch?
Right.
Like, they had all the advantages, and they dropped Wonder Woman, which made a shit ton of money too.
Sure.
Like, because I think like that and Black Panther have like some of the highest domestic box offices.
Oh, 100%. And if you look at the DC films, Wonder Woman is by far the best of the bunch.
Yeah, like
head and shoulders above the rest. It is absolutely insanity that it's taken Marvel this long to do a female lead, a strong
because
female
they were
lead,
honestly scared,
and not a sexy female superhero.
Right. Yeah, she's in the military. She's a badass. The whole trailer is her like it shows her getting knocked down to get the fuck back up and fight.
Right.
And like that's what and like when they're like showing the words, it's like we need her. And then it says a hero, like when it comes. Ooh, I'm getting like chills right now.
Yeah.
Fuck, because I'm super hyped for that movie. So I hope it's really good. And like, is this gonna have like such a powerful message of like, and like even her costume. Like the one thing I really noticed in her costume is her boots aren't heels. Even Wonder Woman has like wedge heels that she's wearing.
Right.
And you see that's like a big trend in like comic books and like and I saw that because she's like she's an Air Force pilot. She's a military and she's also part of Star Force. So she's in two militaries.
Yeah.
So like I'm very excited to see where that goes, and I can't wait to see that movie.
Right, and to get back to your diversity in comics guy or whatever, I'm sure like these people. They go and they see Black Panther, they go and they see Wonder Woman, and then they go on and then they write reviews about, oh, I've seen this movie 7 times and it's fucking horrible. Well, why'd you go see it 7 times?
Yeah, well, it's all the fucking people that watched Last Jedi and didn't like it.
Right,
and like. I don't know how many times you and I have had a conversation that ends up us talking about Last Jedi. Regardless of what it is, we always like end near Last Jedi.
Right, no, we'll be talking about the Super Bowl and the Rams losing, and then it's like turns into Last Jedi.
Yeah, and and so Last Jedi made a shit ton of money. It's one of my favorite Star Wars movies. I think it's amazing. It's like, no Star Wars movie looks like that.
No,
the cinematography is insane.
And for me, a lot of people talk about, oh, well, that doesn't happen. That's not canon. Force projection, that doesn't happen. That's not real.
Fucking nerds.
For me, just put all that aside for a second and just look at how well the movie was made and how it was shot and the colors and just the choreography and everything.
Yes.
It's a beautiful movie. Just that scene at the end on the Salt Planet where the speeders are going and they're kicking everything up and it's just red. And you're like, holy shit, I've never seen anything like this. Rian Johnson is just a visionary when it comes to that kind of thing. Story aside, just visually, I could just watch that film almost without dialogue.
Absolutely. It's such a beautiful movie.
Well made.
And people are getting so mad about that movie for like, this is the dumbest reasons. One, like, I think people were like mad that Luke Skywalker was no longer like this male power fantasy. But to me, he finally became interesting. Like I understand why people like him in the original. Like he, just a farm boy. Like anybody can be this chosen person. Like cool, that's great. But like that's not interesting to me. Him dealing with the legacy of being the the savior of the Guardians of the Galaxy, the savior of the galaxy, and that weighing on him so much that he fails.
Balance to the Force.
He fails when he fails Kylo Ren. And, like, the whole movie's about failure. Like, Poe Dameron's a war criminal because he fucking blew up all the planes and, like, is a shitty, like, captain. It's all about everyone failing. And, like, you don't see that in movies. And there was, like, a tweet I read one time where they had, like, mentioned that The Last Jedi is the only Star Wars movie besides the first Star Wars movie to not be about Star Wars. Because everything else is so, like, steeped in the mythology of, like, the Skywalker saga and all this. And you have now Rey, specifically in Last Jedi, who's a nobody. And I was like pumping my fist. I was so excited that she was just a nobody character.
Yeah.
Like she was just She's just powerful, and that's it. Because just because.
She's a nobody like Luke was in the original.
Right, because before it got so wrapped up.
Right, because in the original, Luke was a nobody.
And clearly, like, Darth Vader's not his father in the first one.
No,
and they took that later, which is obviously Darth Vader rules. And
it was a nice plot twist, and it was cool to build that mythology around it.
But in that first movie, they were not planning that.
And then Leia is his sister, and they're twins, and all this whole shenanigans.
And it keeps getting more wrapped up. And, like, even like the prequels, it's like, even the prequels, like, everything had to lead to those movies, which sucked. It's like I don't like the prequels, but that's not like the point of this is. And then even Force Awakens, like they tie everything back, and they do a really. I love Force Awakens, but it's like it's a very safe movie.
It is. It's a New Hope redone,
right?
You know, but this trilogy's Empire, and I really don't want Rey to turn into a somebody.
Oh, I'm gonna be sad.
And, like. Let me rephrase. I want her to be a somebody.
You don't want her to be related. You want her just to be Rey.
But I want her to be who she is.
Not Rey Skywalker, not Rey Solo, not
I don't want
Rey Palpatine or whatever
to turn out to be, oh my God, she's actually, given up for adoption by her famous parents.
Which is like I'm not excited about J.J. Abrams directing this movie. But because, not because he's a bad film director. I really like The Force Awakens. I think he's going to take the safe route. I don't want him to do that.
He is. Yeah, so, he 100% is going to go safe. He's gonna tie it all back into The Force Awakens and this, the Skywalker saga, and you're going to find out that Rey is like third cousin removed from Luke, and all this stuff.
I hope we're wrong. I really hope we're wrong. But when that movie came out, people were losing their minds over this movie,
just trashing it.
Yeah, and the actress that played Rose, Kelly Marie Tran, she eventually left social media because people are sending so many the shitty things to her and threats and death threats and all this garbage because basically because she's an Asian woman in this movie. That's really the only reason they had.
Makes zero sense.
She fucking killed it.
She was awesome.
I loved Rose in that movie.
Yeah, her and Finn's back and forth. I mean, their dynamic was really good. I thought they played off each other really well, and now you've got that romantic thing going on, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I love it.
Why? Why are you gonna bag on her? Why? I mean, you were telling me the other day, people are buying figurines of her and disfiguring them. Oh yeah,
the Comicsgate guys, Ethan Van Sciver, he buys a pallet. He described a literal pallet of these Rose figures that he would decapitate and mutilate on his YouTube video.
So he bought a pallet, which, you guys, if you don't know what a pallet is, you should look it up. It's a big, large wooden platform
it's
that
4x4.
Holds a lot of action figures. Right. That's a ton of action figures.
And he bought all these to show how much he hates it.
I mean, you're talking
giving Disney more money.
$1,000 minimum for a pallet of those.
Way more than that.
More? Yeah, I mean. That's crazy.
Yeah, he's insane for a lot of reasons. But all of that, and they're chasing her off social media, and I think Daisy Ridley quit at one point too because people were such dicks about it because they didn't like Rey again because I think she's a woman. Also, Luke Skywalker's a Mary Sue too, so you can't complain about Rey. So all that shit's such bullshit.
No, I mean, this past Halloween, my wife went as Rey.
Yeah, it was a very good costume.
It was awesome.
I saw a picture
we dressed our son up as a Porg, and I went as Kylo.
Yeah, because Porgs rule.
Right.
Porgs are awesome.
That was awesome, and he made a great Porg.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, funny is if you have a toddler or infant, dog costumes.
Yeah,
dog
I remember when
Casey
was trying to buy those. But it's these fans get so wrapped up in the things that they love, they don't want it to change. The idea of your childhood was ruined because of
nostalgia.
Last Jedi ruined my childhood for Star Wars. How is that even possible?
You're a 40-year-old man. How is your childhood ruined?
How does Last Jedi retroactively affect the original trilogy? If you don't like Last Jedi, fine. I have a friend that I love and trust very much. I completely disagree with him on his idea of Last Jedi, but fine. He's never gonna watch it again. He's just gonna he's when he watches the Star Wars, he'll go watch the original trilogy. Fine, good for him. People get so wrapped up in you ruin this or you're not changing it the way that I want to change it. Us as fans don't have a say. Did you ever see the thing about the remake of Last Jedi?
No.
There was this Twitter account that said we have financial backers to remake The Last Jedi, and they were crowdsourcing opinions. It's whatever you want in Star Wars, figure out and we'll figure it out. And even Seth Rogen's you guys have no fucking money. Like, you think Disney's going to let you do this? Like, what the fuck are you guys talking about?
So
you should look it up. It's
you
insane.
want to know what happens with crowdsourcing movies? You get snakes on a motherfucking plane.
I'm going to defend that movie because it's hysterical.
I love that film, but
I was actually surprised it had a plot. I literally did not know it had a plot.
But that's how that movie essentially got made. Is this
movie
premise
by
got thrown
committee,
out there,
right.
and then they said, "Hey, what do you guys want to see in it?" And they screen tested a lot of stuff, and the movie was originally going to be PG-13, but then they went back and added some stuff because guys like, "Oh no, we want to see a snake bite a nipple." Right,
Yeah.
and so they put in a gratuitous nude scene just so a
Right.
snake can bite a nipple, and they go, "We want to hear Samuel Jackson say, 'I'm tired of these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane.'"
Yeah.
So they reshot part of that and gave it an R rating to get that line and that other scene in there.
Yeah,
Insane.
It's just
that's
it's so
what crowdsourcing
crazy.
gets you.
And like this idea of like things ruining your
Decent
childhood, like to go back to comics for a bit, is I think in like 2012, spoilers for Spider-Man for 6 years ago. That's your guys' fault for not reading it.
Spoil away.
Dan Slott wrote Spider-Man for 10 years. He finally ended his run this year. Peter Parker didn't die, but like his body got taken over by Dr. Octopus. So Peter Parker, as a character that you know, was dead, but he was being impersonated by Dr. Octopus. Amazing Spider-Man ends at 700. Superior Spider-Man starts, and it fucking rules. Like, because like Otto Octavius becomes like a good guy. He becomes like a more effective Spider-Man, even though a little bit more violent. But people are like on his side and like cheering for him. But people were like lost their fucking again. Like they're just like, you ruined my childhood. Like, and they were sending death threats to Dan Slott, the writer. Like when he had to go do signings, Marvel paid for bodyguards to be there because he was getting so many death threats over a fictional character.
But something that's made up, that I am writing, and you hate it.
There's 70 years of Spider-Man to go read, and I know they haven't, like, not just the 700 issues, but, like, he's always had, like, 2 or 3 series running at one time, so there's plenty of Spider-Man shit to go read. If you don't like it, that's fine. Don't send death threats to somebody about it. It's just, you don't like it, you wipe your hands and you call it. Like, so The Predator came out this past year.
Right.
The first Predator movie, I love that movie.
Fantastic film.
And I was so hyped for The Predator, as Shane Black was directing and writing it. He's in the original movie. I love Iron Man 3. I love The Nice Guys. I think he's a great film
Kiss
maker.
Kiss Bang Bang.
I haven't seen that yet. I really need to see that.
Good.
I've heard good things. And it's basically what got Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But The Predator sucks. I fucking hate that movie. Like, I like left that movie like very, very angry. And then the next day I was like, okay, well, I'm just never going to watch it again. That's it. I'm done. Like,
I mean, I have some critiques of it. I think, Boyd Holbrook, the lead, he wasn't Arnold. I think Arnold's magic, like Arnold's got a magic about him that I like. I wanted to watch it because I like Shane Black just like you. I think he's fantastic. He's done some great stuff. The Nice Guys is a wonderful film. But I wanted to see it because I taught in one semester a long time ago in Texas, Trevante Rhodes. So that's my claim to fame. I know Trevante Rhodes.
Yeah, because he's one of the soldiers, or
he is.
I guess they're like all ex-convicts.
He is one of the soldiers. He's also in what's that, Bird Box on Netflix, and he gets to kiss Sandra Bullock.
Holy shit, that was him.
He killed
him. Like, I thought Bird Box was okay, but he was very good on Bird Box.
He was also in Academy Award-winning Moonlight.
What the fuck?
Right?
Good for that dude.
Right?
That's awesome.
Right? Isn't that cool? That's pretty awesome.
Because you only mentioned The Predator to me, and you never said all these other good movies that he's in. You've only talked about The Predator. But like, The Predator sucked. I talked about like with you and like a couple of my friends that we all watch movies, and then I didn't think about it till now. That's it. I just kind of forgot the movie existed.
I rented it in 4K just so I could use my TV, to its fullest. Watched it, and I was like, yeah, some cool action scenes. I'll never watch it again.
Yeah, just like wipe my hands. I'm not going to sit here and like tweet Shane Black how much I hate him and I wish his kid had cancer or whatever.
The next Shane Black film that comes out, I'm still going to go watch.
I'm going to be very excited about it.
I'm going to check it out. Yeah. And it does not ruin the original Predator for me.
No, the first movie
the original
still
Predator
awesome.
still stands on its own.
Right.
John McTiernan. Just glad they didn't have Jean-Claude Van Damme in his short frame in that suit.
Yeah, I never saw did you watch look at the behind the scenes pictures? Like the Predator used to look like way different.
Oh yeah, he had like a super elongated neck.
Yeah, I don't think I ever saw it, but I've seen like descriptions of it. But it's just the idea of like fans get like so fucking focused on like the thing that they love that they defend everything about it.
They defend it to the point where they send out death threats to the guy that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And there's this documentary coming out that I really want to check out. Guys, it's 4 hours long.
Oh, that's really long.
But it is about Michael Jackson.
Oh, I like Michael Jackson.
And not his music. It is about him molesting 2 children who are now our age, because they're men. It was directed by Dan Reed. He's getting death threats. He has to get protection when he goes places now. But it's about Michael Jackson's molestation of Wade Robson and James Safechuck. And it's crazy that people are so into his music. They love his music so much. I mean, I've seen documentaries where people, are saying stuff like, "Oh, Michael Jackson saved my life. I was going to commit suicide, and then I heard Beat It, and I was like, no, I got to live." And
Beat It's like a weird one, I feel like.
Right. I mean, maybe that's more for comedic effect, but...
I mean, good for that person not killing themselves. Good for you. Like, whatever it takes.
I mean, whatever keeps you alive on the planet, that's light of suicide.
Great. I fucking suck. Let's cancel the podcast.
But to defend it to the point where you cannot admit that the man did things that was evil.
Yeah. That dude is a monster.
He gave children Jesus juice.
Which is wine in like a soda can.
Yeah. It was taking like a Juicy Juice juice box, putting alcohol in it, and maybe some pills he had lying around. Yeah. So he can get them all drugged up so he can go diddle them later.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, and that is just wrong. And the fact that we defend this guy, or like not we is like me and you, but like society, still a lot just defends this man.
I had a friend like I argued with once. Like we were like just talking about music and talking about how much like Michael Jackson's like one of my favorite artists of all time. And, like we were talking about it, and she's like, "Oh, I mean, it's like weird that all that stuff happened." I was like, "Yeah, he's a monster." She's like, "What?" It's like that didn't happen. I was like, "Are you insane? Like he molested a lot of children."
Yeah.
Like I love his music, but he absolutely did. It'd be like the same thing of like us defending Chris Brown right now, and people do defend Chris Brown.
100%.
Like, fuck that guy. Like he's getting Grammys. He's performing at the Grammys. Like, really, man? Like you're letting that happen after he beat the shit out of Rihanna, and like I think right now he's arrested on some crazy charges too for like assaulting another woman. And I'm very like torn on the thought of like, oh yeah, but like you separate the art from the artist. Like, not really. Like you really shouldn't do that. I mean, I don't do that.
You don't not do that?
I don't not do that, correct. Because I unfortunately do like often separate the art from the artist. Because I do like Chris Brown's music. Like it's fun, it's danceable. Like
I mean, I like Michael Jackson.
I love Michael Jackson. Right? And like John Lennon. Like John Lennon is famously an asshole. Like he like physically abused his wife. He was very emotionally abusive to his son. Like John Lennon was an awful human being.
Right.
And he's lauded as like one of the greatest musicians of all time. And like that's kind of like it's kind of gets like swept under the rug that he's this asshole.
It's I mean we're real quick to the people who create great art, who have captured the imagination and interest of a nation, of the world even.
Right.
We're very quick to sweep their skeletons back into the closet,
Right, because they give us like so much joy in like this other facet, but then there was that picture of Rihanna where she was like almost beat to death by Chris Brown. And
that son of a bitch needs to be in jail.
He's not, and he's making $1 million, like more money than I'll ever see in my lifetime, in our lifetime. Like
right. Well, it's like the running back Ray Rice. I mean, he video footage of him being beating.
Okay. I was gonna say like I don't know if it was this guy we're talking about, but I don't remember the video.
Beating his I think then girlfriend, even now wife, in an elevator. I mean, just where she's cold cock knocked on the floor and dragging her out like a caveman. Yeah. And then people like teams were actually considering putting him on their roster as a running back.
Even after that.
After that happened. After the videos came out. I mean, God, I love the Dallas Cowboys, but I hate Jerry Jones because he will put people on his team that have done that kind of shit. Greg Hardy, got caught throwing a girl on a couch that had machine guns on it, for God's sake.
What the fuck?
Machine gun couch, right?
I have not. What? I haven't heard of this.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that freaking happened. And
now, in Texas, can you just buy a machine gun couch? Is that just like at the Costco down the street? I assume that's there, right?
I mean, you can buy a couch that's got machine gun print on it.
Oh, okay. So you have to buy the machine guns separately.
They're
That's
separate,
that's in the aisle too.
But then you have to buy a bump stock to turn your semi-automatic into a machine
well,
gun.
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not an idiot, Chris.
Which I mean, with Trump president, thank God, we'll keep all those things. It should be
yeah,
outlawed.
don't let them take my fucking guns. Jesus Christ.
So,
yeah, but
another episode there. But.
Yeah, but like in like the Jerry Sandusky, like how long was that kept a secret?
My God.
How many people fucking knew about that?
Right.
Because like, and he did. That was Penn State. Was that right?
Penn State, Joe Paterno.
And like they knew that and they let that happen because he was good at his job.
Because he was good as a coach, they swept it under the rug.
Yeah, and they just let that fucking happen.
We cannot let people be fans of people who are going to do, dastardly deeds. I sound like Dudley Do-Right, but but I mean, think about it. You really can. I mean, it is not justifiable. I mean, I know things happen in the heat of the moment, but if you let that thing happen in the heat of the moment, you're done. It's over. You should no longer be in the NFL. You should no longer be
You should be in jail.
You should no longer be producing music. You should go to jail for the crime you have committed. And I struggle a lot because I'm again, fan of the Cowboys, Ezekiel Elliott. There are all kinds of things that have come up about him, that he's been involved in things and that he's been abusive to women, but they're not pressing charges because there's not enough evidence. And
because he has the money to suppress it and like they don't want to come forward.
And because he's got billionaire Jerry Jones behind him saying, no, you're not going to touch my guy.
Yeah.
I mean, and that to me is reprehensible.
And I think that becomes...
Oh, you love Ezekiel Elliott, don't you, because you're a Cowboys fan? I'm like, yeah, he's great and all, but if he disappeared from the team, I wouldn't care.
Right.
I'm still going to be a Cowboys fan.
And it really comes like I think a lot of this is tied up into the idea of how a lot of fans and fandom are now of like you either have to love it or you have to hate it. There's no in between.
Right.
Like I feel like we talk about Batman versus Superman a lot on this episode.
It comes up.
And like we've never done that before. Like I think we both thought it was fine.
It's a fine movie.
And that's like the quote. It's fine is a joke. Like it's something that I say a lot, and like to movies that you guys like you and like our friends like really love. Like I'll be like, it's fine, and like I do it half the time to make you mad, half the time like I really just like Ghostbusters. That movie's fine. Like I don't care about. I don't hate it.
You watch your mouth because that movie is great.
Like I don't love that movie. I don't hate it. Like it was fine. I enjoyed it. Like I don't think I'll go back. But people get very very wrapped up in like oh you have to love Star Wars. Empire Strikes Back is the best movie. That's it, hands down. Like. Well, I mean,
right. And if that's not your favorite one, then there's something wrong with you, like morally almost.
Yeah, and like I love Empire Strikes Back. I get torn between like, do I like Last Jedi more? Not that I could like even like I'm comparing of like what's a better film, but like Last Jedi does a lot more for me, especially now as like as an adult man and like I grew up on Star Wars and. But like the themes and like talking about like what they do in that movie is just like so different. But maybe without Empire Strikes Back, that wouldn't have happened. But people get like so obsessed with it. Like Batman versus Superman is like, oh, that movie's fucking garbage. That's the worst movie we've ever seen. It's like, one, I've seen way worse movies than that. And like
The Predator,
the Predator for sure.
Yeah,
it's just like the movie was fine. Like I definitely don't think it's a good movie. But like I was entertained for 2 hours.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, I own it.
I own it.
I liked it enough to buy it. I've watched it since I've purchased it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one that I liked it enough. It was fine enough. I'm going to go back and watch it again.
I'll probably watch it again.
But I mean, I just don't understand why people get so worked up. I mean, there are movies that you dislike. I mean, dislike.
I very verbally abused the movie last week.
Right. That I thoroughly enjoy and I think is a great film. And that's okay. Like, we can have that difference and have a conversation about it and not get offended.
Yeah, because, like, in the end, like, if you, like a friend of our, like, and, well, honestly, like, most of America, like, really love Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like, I enjoyed that movie. I thought it was fun. I don't get the big hype about it. And if you guys think it's the best film of all time, and like clearly like I'm in the minority and maybe in the wrong, is like it's on like AFI's top 100. Like,
I mean, clearly you're wrong because I don't know anybody else who dislikes that film that's seen it.
I didn't dislike it. I don't get the hype on it. I thought it was fun. It was pretty funny.
Like, I think a big part of it for movies like that come down to nostalgia, which I think comes down to why some people are maybe saying The Last Jedi ruined their childhood experience for the original trilogy, which my thought is, wouldn't you have the same vitriol for the prequels? But we don't hear that. And maybe it's because we're now 20 years removed from the prequels.
Right.
That we don't hear that same, rhetoric. But I don't know, man. The Last Jedi is a great film. And if you don't like it, that's fine too.
Well, even going to the prequels, like...
And you don't have to hate it. And you don't have to love it. You don't have to be on that end of the spectrum. There is a whole middle ground of fine that we can all be in.
You and I like the Marvel. Like, I mean, we watch a lot of comic book movies, and like especially the Marvel movies, because there's a million of them, and like we really like them. A lot of the Marvel movies are fine. Like, there's a lot that I think are great. Like Winter Soldier is my favorite film. Black Panther's amazing. Guardians of the Galaxy is amazing. Spider-Man: Homecoming is amazing. Infinity War, and like Ant-Man is fine. I enjoyed it. I bought it. Like I think it was a fun film. Like a lot of those movies, like the Thor movies, I think are all fine, except Dark World. I really hated Dark World. But like Thor 1 and Thor 3 are fine. I enjoyed those. Like I don't think they're like super special or anything, but like I know like Ragnarok, I'm in the minority. Like a lot of people love Ragnarok.
I think Ragnarok is one of the best Marvel films that's there.
Good for you.
And
that's great.
I
see why I can see why you like that movie. Like love that movie.
And it comes down to like I think it strikes that sense of humor it's got really fits my style of humor.
Right, and it was very different than like a lot of the Marvel movies.
Right.
Like,
it's bright, it's colorful, it's got a lot of humor to it.
Right.
And I think it was a good film to come out when it did compared to the other Marvel movies that were coming out.
Right, and you see like Doctor Strange, which is this like that's like almost like a copy like beat for beat of Iron Man.
It's a retread of Iron Man.
Even 100%. Down to who the character is. Like it's kind of like the same character.
He's a rich asshole.
Yeah, and it's like that didn't work for me. Ragnarok didn't totally work for me, though I like a lot about that movie. They're fine. Like it's like those are like solid B movies. Like on my scale of like A through F, like that is like a solid B for me. Like perfect.
I've watched.
Not every movie's gonna be amazing.
I've watched so many movies over the years that I've really come to the conclusion that if that movie entertained me for 2 hours, then I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
There are going to be movies that just move you emotionally, that you have a deeper connection to, and that's like, God, that's my favorite film of all time, right? But then there's movies that, you just got to escape for 2 hours.
Right.
And I feel like with fandom in general, I mean, the general populace is different. I think we're really talking about the fanboys, right?
Yeah, and that's like... Because like
fanboys, they get so upset about things, and they turn red, and they go like, I'm not gonna breathe until you make this movie right,
Yeah.
And I don't get that. Like it was good enough.
Yeah, like I enjoy. Like my wife and I are gonna go see What Men Want. It's like a remake of What Women Want, but with starring a black female lead.
Huh.
And like. And I think it's gonna be fun. Like, if it's gonna be the best movie I've ever seen, no. Like, but like it looks funny. Like, I think I'm gonna enjoy it, and like I will watch it the one time in theater and never see it again. I assume maybe it'll blow me away. I don't know.
You'll probably get in there and you'll be like, oh my God, this is the second coming of Christ.
Yeah, I was bumped down Winter Soldier here. Put Empire Strikes Back and Last Jedi even farther down the list, and put What Men Want.
What Men Want.
Like, I think it'll be like a good time. Like, it'll be fine because I'll like the movie, and like. I watched Skyscraper last year. Did you watch that movie?
I have not. I want to. I love the Rock films because they're exactly what I'm looking for when I watch them.
Yeah,
just stupid popcorn.
Yeah, it's like
explosion,
a nothing movie, and like it was fun. Like it was what it was. Like I'm never gonna watch that movie again. But, like,
right. I watched Rampage. I felt the same way.
That one I did not like. I did not like that movie. I think I wanted more monster stuff out of it, but that's like my own thing. Like like. I hated that movie. You liked it. You thought it was fine. Cool. Great.
Well, I mean, don't go so far as to say I liked it. I will never watch it again.
You were entertained for 2 hours.
2 hours went by, and I was like, all right, The Rock blew some shit up, and there was a big white gorilla who that
that gives him the finger
killed
right
the
at the
lizard,
end.
you know, like wow, that was.
I will
was
say
fun.
when the lizard just like walks up the building, that was fucking cool. I was in on that.
Yes.
Yeah, but I hope everyone was entertained for this past hour. Fortunately, the power didn't go out, so we
made it.
Oh god, I still have the outro to do.
We got the outro, yeah. Well, let's do that before we have any issues.
Right, absolutely. So, thank you for listening to Thursday Thunderdome. I want to thank Sarah Lichty, who created our logo and did our graphic design. You can find her work at sarahlichtydesign.com. I want to thank Jimmy Nimbus for doing our intro and outro music. That song is called Top Off. And you can find it at jimmynimbus.bandcamp.com and check out the rest of his music. He's also part of Hotel Records, which you should be checking out. You can find us on Twitter at Thursday T-Dome or on Facebook and Instagram at Thursday Thunderdome. If you want to leave any comments, questions, like topics you'd like to hear, just be general contact with us, you can find us at thursdaythunderdome@gmail.com or the other affiliate sites I just mentioned. And finally, you can find all of our stuff on podcast platforms like Google Play, Spotify, TuneIn, iTunes. Go on iTunes and please rate, review, and subscribe. That helps us get our show out. We want more people to listen to it because obviously we think we're very intelligent. People need to listen to our stuff and talk about Star Wars for 20 minutes. We've got to be the
best podcast going right now, right?
Yeah. I think we broke 2 million downloads already. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
We're just like
it's insane.
It's just another Thursday for us. No big deal.
No big deal. Guys.
But remember, it's okay just to like things and dislike things or not.
Just don't be a douche about it.
Yeah, just enjoy the things you like to enjoy.
Right.
Like this podcast.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.